un po', volevo mostrarvi un po'
And
anche
here I
tutto
wanted
quello
to
che
show
ho
you
visto,
everything you've seen
come io lo vivo
and how I live it.
quotidianamente. E io lo vivo così. Nel senso, questa è la sedia da Wolfgang.
This is the Wolfgang chair.
Questo è il primo prototipo fatto in cartone con una pila di libri.
This is a pile of books to understand exactly the aesthetics of the product. And these were the first prototypes, and these were the sketches on how this prototype could actually be glued together and become a true product. This is the development of Rogo, to understand the proportions and how to understand the entire framework. Here were all the steps done in the studio.
These
are the ceramic chairs from the sketches to the first prototypes to see the aesthetics done in polyurethane. If they would work. This is in Venice and the origin of my projects. Thank you.
Ok, io ho un regalo per
a present for 5 of you.
Allora, per chi mi fa delle
For
domande,
who asks a question, I give you a USB pen drive that I showed you. So no one always asks a question. Maybe I hope that if I give you a present, someone asks a question. Here there are my students, and they know they need to ask questions. Who wants to ask a question? I wanted to ask, at the beginning of your career, can I... No, I'm kidding. Because it's you, can I be informal with you? Well, I think you have a lot of knowledge now compared to the real beginning. I hope so. Well, when you had an idea regarding an object or a product that you wanted to physically produce, well, the research of the producer and the people who could actually produce your object, how would that happen? Like, your personal experience, do you think yellow pages at the real beginning? I look at that, just yellow pages. You try one-on-one, ask them, going and visit them, trying to find people who are available, less available, terrible flops. Trying. Just going around. And also the flop. So finding a supplier which is not the correct supplier for that product or producer for that product. I'd find something interesting for the next step. So it was learning different processes and people and getting to know different things. 7 USB pen drive. It's very rare, this color. There's 10 of this color. See? It works. The USB pen drive method. We can clearly understand that in your design and in your products it's very important, the heritage, and therefore it's very personal. How hard it's for a brand to understand the same involvement that you have, the heritage and emotions of this product? It's difficult, but it always depends how you face the brand. I've always tried to face them as a person and professional, and so probably the fact of trying to find a relation with the person that's facing me, well, probably that always helped me open up and have them understand this aspect that you were mentioning. So everything originates from a knowledge, like a human relation with people, like empathy with people. Yes, I try to have relationships with these people. It's very hard for me to work if I do not have a relationship with the person I have in front of me. Well, seduction? No, I would leave seduction aside. Yes, just friendship. Seduction in terms of ideas, yes. It's not that with all the brands and all the products I told you, I've always went there with the product, and after 4 months the project was done. We've gone through flops, like the bench I was talking about, that was a flop. Or like with Boza, before I did a product, I knew Boza since 2 years, and so I had to get to know them. And then when I felt ready, I started doing the first project with Foscarini. Before I did my first lamp, it took me 3 years and a half, and they tell me, no, 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 no. And I used to say, no, why? No, why? And at least I had an answer, and I could actually understand where my mistake was in. I have 2 USB pen drives, and that's it. So, 2 more questions.
So what do you think is better, what do you prefer as a design process? Because now you have more than so now I believe like there are companies who find I look for you to design themselves. What do you think is like a better way for you? If a company finds you to design something, or you have an idea and you go to them, you look for it.
Ok, rispondi tu?
No. You answer. Yep.
Il mio fantastico inglese.
No, I answer. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Well, obviously, it's much better when brands call me up, and it's easier in a sense. But let's say that every year I try to balance these 2 things. There are some brands that contact me, they give me a brief, and I develop a certain type of project. Then there are some brands which I'm very affectionate. I have a relationship where I'm the one who proposes my own vision of things and my idea of product. And then what actually happens that sometimes I really love to try to work with brands that I've never worked with because I really like what they do. And so I try, right? So I try to put together all these 3 things.
Right. I have a question concerning some comments made earlier that sometimes you said, okay, this time, if it was now, I would say no, this doesn't describe me as who I am right now or what my principles are. Those decisions I make now because I'm trusted of a higher state, which can actually make good decisions based on, I mean, young emerging designers, they start a project, they want to get up again, right? So I am curious about, now you're on this higher state, so you can make your own decisions, say, with a name like Moroso, not do it. And what's your goal? What do you want to reach? Where do you want to get after that? So you can make your own decisions, your plan, I don't know, get to another higher state.
No, l'unica cosa che vorrei fare
the only thing I really want to do is try to defend my ideas.
Quindi non fare che in qualche maniera un'idea che nasce
have an idea that originates with a certain kind of characteristics is violated or raped. Please forgive my term, but raped in the sense that I do not take a decision, but it's much better for the brand as well. It's better to say, I don't want to do this if we don't really understand that we need to invest this money or do this kind of path to obtain it. It's not a matter of saying where I am and what I've reached. Definitely, working for Moroso was useful, but Probably
la questione della manipolazione,
the matter,
il fatto che uno
the
può
fact that
si rende conto che
one
si deve
can
difendere
and
un'idea.
has to defend an idea. Well, that's basically what it should be. I have no clue what she asked. I didn't hear her. I was asking if, since the project with Moroso did not end up to being produced, it's very poetic, and it's poetry in the small natures that we try to reconstruct at home or in our garden. Well, can you actually take that project and the fact of having it done for Moroso, you cannot do it again. Obviously, I may not do it with the same aesthetics. It was not productive. The idea of working with ceramics industrial to then make it more human, closer to the artifact that we all know made in ceramics. I would want to recuperate that, and I want to recuperate this in the outdoors, and not with brands that want to have a lot in their correction, where the investment is part of the politics of the brand itself. I've finished all my USB pen drives, therefore.
It's just a little curious question. Who is the person who gives his opinion and can easily influence your design?
Sorry, I don't understand.
No. Who is the person who gives his opinion?
Chi è la persona che fa... Chi è la persona della tua vita che influenza il tuo design e dà sempre la sua opinione nel tuo lavoro, praticamente?
Mia mamma.
My mom. It's true. Well, my mom, because it's a joke, but partially it's true, because my mom has always been super like fond of my design and design in general, and in some way she has always killed any idea I showed her. So, no, this is not useless, this is useless, this doesn't work, and can you imagine if I should like clean this thing, etc, etc, etc. So if it like goes through my mom, it works. So, according to the point of view, if we want to be more serious, professional point of view, I believe I have met up to now colleagues, critics, and so on. I do not have one person, I have more than one who have actually marked my path, my professional path, and giving me an opinion which was very free of what they see about my design. First is Simon Moore, which is this art director that I was mentioning before. In Salviati, Giulio Iacchetti, that I've met in Foscarini, and he's been the one who has invited me the first time in presenting other colleagues and designers here in Milan. The third person is Fabio Novembre, who has always massacred me with criticizing me, saying that I was doing too much and everything, but in a very constructive way, in a very positive way. He's super generous. And now in some way I do the same thing with him. I criticize him, and I have fun doing that. And certainly Alessandro Becchiato and Carlo Urbinati, the owners of Foscarini, that when I was basically no one, a complete stranger, they gave me the opportunity of being a counselor, a designer, and Claesson Komissarunen. There are these Swedish architects and designers who help me nowadays still to understand the Swedish culture. They're two friends, they're not colleagues.